Well, hi everyone. My name is Carla again, and I am going to be showing you some decorative Diwali inspired candles and holders. And these are some samples that I made. All right. Here's my supply list. And again, it is not all inclusive. You certainly can add anything that you would like as far as things to use to embellish and decorate your candles and holders. And if you want to take a screenshot of this, go ahead and do that. Okay. All right, we can go on. All right, so many of us regularly light candles for their aroma and ambiance, but they're also used to celebrate many occasions: birthdays, weddings, religious ceremonies, holidays, and cultural festivals. Here you can see a picture from 1964 of a birthday cake celebrating St. Louis's 200th birthday. So a lot of candles on that cake. Now, many Christians light candles on an Advent wreath to count down the 4 weeks before Christmas. And you can see an Advent wreath in that first picture. And Germans were the first to decorate Christmas trees with real candles brought that tradition with them when they immigrated to St. Louis. And it's kind of hard to see in this picture, but there are some candles on that tree. So imagine that would be pretty dangerous these days. Now, the Jewish community lights candles for many celebrations, such as Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, and Passover, but probably most known is the lighting of 8 candles of the menorah during Hanukkah, which represents the seven days of creation and the Sabbath. It also commemorates the rededication of the temple in Jerusalem, and the 9th candle is used to light the other candles. Now, for Kwanzaa, and also a holiday celebrated in St. Louis by many, a Kinara holds 7 candles that represent the principles of Kwanzaa. The 3 red candles symbolize African American struggles. 1 black candle represents the African American people, and 3 green candles symbolizes their hopes. The candles are also lit in remembrance of lost loved ones at places of worship, like at churches, on altars for Dia de los Muertos. And there's a picture from one of our altars that we had at the museum. Or during candlelight vigils where people are brought together in mourning a loss, as you can see in the picture down below. So for today, for my craft, I've taken inspiration from these candles and holders that were given to me by a friend from India during Diwali. So these were hers, and this was my inspiration. So Diwali, or Deepavali, as it's more often called by those from southern India, is known as the Festival of Lights and is one of the most popular of Hindu festivals. This 5-day celebration takes place in October or November and celebrates the victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. St. Louis is currently home to about 15,000 residents who were born in India. And in these pictures, you can see some of the samples that I made. All right, so it's crafting time. All right, thanks, Allison. So to decorate the candles, you basically are just going to glue embellishments or paint outside of a battery operated candle. And I'm using battery operated candles simply because it's a lot safer for kids to use. But you can use tea lights if you like. Or you can even use like a votive holder as well. So I'm going to show you some examples that I have, but you can be as creative as you want. You don't have to copy mine, and I certainly hope you don't copy mine, but just use whatever you want. The important thing to remember is that Diwali is a festival full of light and joy, so a lot of color, and the more bling, the better. So a couple examples to show you first. These were decorated, it's kind of hard to see there. I'm gonna kind of get a little closer. I used some washi tape, but you can also use any kind of colorful tape. So I use that as my base, and for this one, I just glued some gold ribbon around it, and that's it. And for this one, I happen to have confetti. I had some star confetti. And so I glued some extra stars around the washi tape and also on the top. The plastic is very slippery, so you want to make sure you use a thick tacky glue like that, or even a hot air glue gun, not a hot air, a hot glue gun would work for that as well. You can also, I had some gemstone stickers that I used for this one. And then I had some just regular gems and some ribbon that I used for this. And also in the center of this one, I glued some beads. And for that, I just cut up some old Mardi Gras beads that I had. So this is really something that you can walk around your house, look at maybe Christmas decorations and things that you have, and take inspiration from those things and add it. And finally, I have one that I just painted polka dots. It's kind of hard to see. That's a little bit blurry on that one. Okay, so that's all it is for the candles. And then for the actual holder or base for your candle, I used some old computer disks that my husband had lying around. So one way you can do it, you can actually use a Sharpie and you'll get kind of that effect. It's not as bright though as if you use some craft paint, like craft paint here. But also, if you don't have paint and you might have nail polish lying around, if you have some brightly colored nail polish, you can use that. And I did use that in the center of this one. So that is nail polish. Another thing you want to do is, this is an option, it's not necessary, but I glued some craft foam to the back of my CD or disc. And that allows it to set a little bit off your table surface. For this one, I had some red, and you can also then see through the hole. So again, I used some Mardi Gras beads and some gems that I glued on for that one. And then I'll show you an example here. This is what it would look like all put together. And then for another one, I painted using kind of a mandala kind of pattern. They use a lot of flower patterns in some of the decorations that they use for Diwali. And I had some glitter craft foam, so I put that on the back, and then it makes it really nice and shiny on the surface. And then I'm going to use this one. So you want to use like a puff paint. This blue is a puff paint, which works really well, or you want to use your craft paint. If you're painting with a brush, it might be a little bit thin, so you might need to go over it. I had to go over this 2 or 3 times to get the full effect. To make the dots, and also it makes it a little bit thicker, I used chopsticks. You can also use like a barbecue skewer to do that, but I just use some chopsticks, and then it's an easy way to make some even dots all around. So that's about all it is. One other thing you can do, if you happen to have some Play-Doh or clay or some Model Magic, you can make a dia, which basically is a clay pot that they often use to hold their candles. And here's an example that I made. This is kind of the shape that they normally are. And I just glued some gemstones onto that. And then I can add my candle like that. All right. So yeah, so be as creative as you want. Try to find things around your house, be colorful and bright, and then you have some decorative candles. You can also do it in different color themes for different holidays as well. There's my doorbell going. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a good time decorating. And if you do come up with some things, we would love to see them. So again, you can post them on social media and tag us at Image Just Learn, or Keep Making History. Thanks. Bye.